about large neural networks. It's really an honor to be here.
Russ.
Data topic.
Welcome to the data.
Welcome to the Data Topics podcast. Hello and welcome to Data Topics Unplugged, your casual corner of the web where we discuss what's new in data every week. From EU to superbugs, everything goes. Feel free to check us out on YouTube. I think we're still putting stuff there, right, Alex? Yeah. Feel free to leave a comment or questions. Feel free to reach out to us. Today is the 18th of March of 2024. My name is Murillo, and I'm joined by Bart.
Good day.
Good day. And Alex.
Hello.
Hello. It is a good day, isn't it? It's sunny. It's still a bit cold, but sunny. I can live with this.
Sunny is good.
Yeah.
I can default to sunny.
Yeah, but like I don't mind the cold as much, I find. But the grayness is what gets me. And the lack of sunlight, that gets me too. But it's hard to say that as a Brazilian, because everyone's like, oh, I cannot imagine, cannot believe you're saying this.
I think everybody likes to leave the winter gloom behind them, right?
Yeah. Well, in Brazil, there's not a lot of winter gloom. Like actually, I noticed once I left Brazil,
you realize that winter exists.
I realized that there's like 4 seasons. No. But also like it's nice out, let's do something outside. Like to let the weather dictate your schedule. That never happened in Brazil. Like it was never like, oh yeah, it's out, it's nice, let's spend the day outside.
How constant is the temperature, like in Brazil across the year?
I don't know. Like I don't know. It gets warmer. Like I mean, it can get to 40 degrees in the summer.
And
like
what's
peak
the
summer.
coldest?
Coldest, I'd say maybe 15.
Yeah. Do the trees lose their leaves?
No, you don't have like you don't see the brown leaves and all these things. Doesn't happen.
Okay.
But I think it's more like you also get so many more warm, sunny days that you don't. It's never like, oh yeah, we need to capture this day because we don't know when next time we're gonna have it. It's like, oh yeah, next week we'll have more, or if not next week, then we
You're
can't.
spoiled.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why
you don't see the value in it anymore.
Yeah, there's a joke that people from the north.
Now at least you enjoy the sun.
Yes, that's true. Huh. That's true. I feel like you appreciate it more.
Huh. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Wow, that's a good quota. Just wow. Wow. Okay. Can we have the bell? Maybe I don't know. I feel like we needed something to. It's okay.
Just it's been a few weeks. Alex lost track of the soundboard.
Yeah, she's like, "What is this? What are these buttons?" But so yeah, it's been a few weeks. So we have some stuff to discuss. A lot of stuff happened actually. Like I think Claude was released. A lot of these things that probably our listeners are already in the loop because
it's been 3 weeks since we last recorded. I want to say.
Yes, we spent 2 weeks. 2 weeks we had we had to.
I had excuses.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, we had excuses. We have more updates later, but we'll leave it at that for now. But what do we have then? What has happened in the recent past? Let's say.
A lot happened, right? It's a bit hard to start, but I think we'll focus a bit more on end of last week, beginning with this week.
Yes. So we have here like OpenAI asks White House for relief from state AI rules. What is this about, Bart? This is from March 13th, so 5 days ago.
Yeah, I thought it was actually more recent. I haven't gone through it in a lot of detail because I don't. I'm saying that because I don't understand some of the wording in it. It's an article on Yahoo Finance, and it basically says that OpenAI went to the U.S. government to ask from a sort of a dispensation to not have to comply to all state rules, and in exchange, by having this like waived for them, they will share a lot more of information and potentially also usage, and that's what I'm not exactly clear on. Like, what is this extra information about models? What is the quote-unquote free usage that at the federal level they will open up with? But their reasoning, and I think this is very politically. We won't go into the politics of all this, I think.
Yeah,
but the reasoning is a bit like there is today no clear guideline on what is AI policy in the States, meaning that you have at state level a lot of policies starting to be implemented, and it's very hard for them to implement all of these different variants. And what they're saying is we're in a political climate where we need to move fast, and I think they're very much jumping on the DeepSeek is Chinese, so we need to be fast.
Yeah.
And fast they translate to let's not try to comply with all regulations in all states, but let's just try to have like an agreement on a federal level. What are the minimum requirements we need to adhere to, and for the, let's say, the return of simplifying this for us, we give easy access, a lot of transparency on what we're actually doing to the federal level.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like a mini crisis? I don't know how mini or how much of a crisis it is in OpenAI, because I feel like I don't know. I think they were going to be for profit, and then DeepSeek came along, and then I think I saw a lot of statements from OpenAI as well saying like we shouldn't trust because it's government this and it's government that, and I don't know. I feel like before they seem to be more in the lead. Like we're just worrying about what we're doing. We're ahead of everyone. No one's gonna catch up with us. Actually, there was a statement from I think Sam Altman that was hopeless to compete with them. And I feel like now they're appealing more to, like these flexibility from the state. And I don't know. Do you think that I don't know. Would you still say that OpenAI is still in the lead? Do you think they are?
That's a difficult question. Eh?
Yeah.
I don't have had that much insights. I think whether or not, I think the DeepSeek example and now the Manus one, like it took everybody a bit by surprise. I think that is and that creates a bit of an uncertain platform to stand on. Eh? Like if you're suddenly there is someone that is competing and you didn't see coming at all. I think that's difficult. So that's probably does create some turmoil.
I think the time was also like they also announced they're gonna have so much money invested in AI, and it's like so many things, and there's like, well, actually, we don't need this much money to get good enough performance. So that's a bit.
I think there's still value to say. Like I don't really believe in the whole thing, like where you say, oh, you don't need these investments. You will still need significant investments to have advancements. And I think the DeepSeek was trained on a very limited budget is also very much of an overreach. Like there was a lot of budget behind DeepSeek. But I think the bigger challenge maybe for OpenAI is like it's been hyped up a lot. It's been very much the most performant, let's say, general purpose LLM provider out there. But it has, like, I have the feeling in the last year it has made a lot of claims on going towards AGI, super agency, whatever. But I don't really have the feeling like we're seeing this now. So either they have something behind the scenes that will surprise us all, or the claims are been a bit overreaching. Like if you look at like very much in the Gen AI based coding space, like none of the leaderboards today are being dominated by OpenAI, right? Like it's literally like it's Claude and it's Anthropic, and in some cases it's DeepSeek. And OpenAI trails somewhere behind. Like that is a reality that we're on today. We waited, I don't know, I want to say 2 years for Sora, and Sora is like the video generation, like is meh to say the least, right? Like it's so let's see.
I think the feeling I have is like since 01 they made some upgrades, but it wasn't like, because I also feel like before it was like every time OpenAI came and released something, it was like wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then since 01 it's like okay. I think since last time we talked, so again it was a bit a while ago. Actually, maybe I'm not sure, but the GPT 4.5 came out. And
deep research, the functionality as well, right?
That's true. OpenAI deep research.
I don't think we talked about it yet.
I'm not sure either, but if we didn't, what is OpenAI deep research?
So OpenAI deep research, and you have, if you want to test this out and you don't have a paid OpenAI account, you can also check out Perplexity's deep research, because it comes a bit down to the same thing. In my feeling, OpenAI is a little bit more performant. What it basically does is like you have this research question, and then it starts querying a lot of different sources to get to a cohesive research report to answer your question. That's a bit what it that does. I think, let's say, I've tested a few times. So you can't, like, for I have a paid ChatGPT account, and then you can do this, like, I don't know, 10 or 20 times, and then you're locked out for the month, something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is quite impressive. Like I've asked like a few times, like things like make a competitive map of this and this industry, of that and that geographical region with these and these constraints, and you get a good answer. Like, is the conclusive answer? Probably not, but like an answer that would have taken me a lot of manual research to build myself.
But I guess the question for me is, if you compare that to Perplexity, because Perplexity, you sign up, but then you can also use the feature for free.
Yeah, but also they nudge you to go to pro. Like, it's not unlimited. Like for example, like these are very much details. Like, but on the OpenAI one, ChatGPT one, like the deep research one, the references are typically very correct, right? Like, okay, there's a statement, part of the answer, and like there's a reference. You click the reference and you read the full documentation where it comes from, and it can go from like web pages, research papers, whatever. Perplexity have the same concept, but like sometimes like the references don't really match up with the statement. But,
I know.
But it's linked to the text somehow. Like you need to reconstruct this a little bit. Like, like it's much less precise.
Yeah. No. That's also something I find with Perplexity. Like sometimes I ask a question and it gives me an answer, and then I click on the source, and it's like a blog post that doesn't really talk about, doesn't really give the information that I want. And it's like,
but if you then go like 3 sentences lower, and then there's not a reference. Oh, and there's an actual
that's
reference.
the one. Indeed.
So if these things.
No, true. But I mean, I think the question that I have at least is it worth it, right? Like, I think because the pro subscription of ChatGPT is not of OpenAI is not cheap, right? It's like a couple hundred.
Yeah, that is very expensive. No, I don't have that one.
You don't have that.
You mean I don't. Is it called Pro? I'm not sure about.
I'm not sure.
What tiers are called. You mean the very expensive one? I think then you have unlimited access to the deep research.
Yeah, because for that one, the GPT 4.5 is available for the Pro one, or is available for the not Pro one, let's say? Because I think the ChatGPT 4.5 is not available for everyone, is it?
To be honest, I don't know exactly.
But well, I don't know either. But I think the criticism that comes a lot, and this is from another article, it's a hot take. Do you have the hot? Oh, hot. Not my hot take, from Gary Marcus. Hot take: GPT 4.5 is a nothing burger. I'm not gonna go through the whole article here, but basically, nothing burger is something that gets a lot of attention, but which, upon close examination, reveals to be little or no real significance. And basically says, GPT 4.5 is a nothing burger. He says, there's like a lot of explanation, people saying why people are not getting the performance boost that they see. But he thinks it's just because, like, they train in more data, more resources, but he doesn't feel like he feels like, it's not like, it's not something that we should really focus on. And again, I think these comments I've heard or I've seen in different places on the internet, on social media and whatnot. And I think that, coupled with the subscription and how they want people to pay for more stuff, I feel like that's what puts the question mark on people's heads. Is this worth it? Also, when you see the competitors, I mean, I agree with you that a lot of these things are a bit exaggerated in a way, like the DeepSeek's investments. But I don't know. I have a few question marks when it comes to OpenAI and like going ahead, because I also see other things on the other competitors, like Anthropic, with the model context protocol, which we'll talk more later. I have an article there as well that got a lot of attention. And I don't know. I have a feeling that OpenAI is not on the hot, like it's not it's falling behind in a way. I'm not sure.
It's of course still like a huge company. Yeah?
I think, but it's just we're so used to them being always in the forefront of everything, always them wowing us, and always saying like, we should really follow these guys, we should really do this. And I guess maybe the absence of that makes me feel like they're losing momentum.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Would you say that GPT-4? Actually, have you tried GPT-4.5?
No, I haven't tried it.
They also say they're going to announce the.
Is it available because it's to use it via the API is super expensive? Huh?
Yeah, I think so. But that's also why you're saying like it's super expensive, but it's not much better. And that's the biggest criticism. Like, yeah, you can find some things here and there that it's a bit better, but it's not. He also points out in this article that St. Maltman is way more cautious when he announced this.
Okay.
So he wasn't like AGI or this and this. He was like, yeah, this is a better, but it's gonna be expensive, etc., etc. So I guess maybe they're less bold. It seems like.
I see. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is actually. I just checked it out. Yeah, like so, I have a paid account on, but it's available there. As a research preview. Yeah.
Preview.
Good for writing and exploring ideas.
Yeah, I think that's what he says in the tweet. Sam Altman said that it feels a bit more human, a bit more conversational. But I don't know. What else do we have?
Actually, also heard that it's very good for creative writing, like creating novels, like these type of things.
Okay.
There are some good.
GPT 4.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But these things are very hard to measure. Huh?
Yeah, it's very like going by gut feeling. I have to feel.
Yeah, like vibe writing or like
vibe writing. Yeah, wow.
You know what that is, Alex? Have you heard of vibe coding?
No.
It's actually something I've started seeing on Reddit everywhere. I mean, I heard it also on podcasts, but it's like I don't know where it came up, but from what I understand, is the idea that you just talk to your ChatGPT and it just does stuff. Like you're not really coding. You're just like. It's like that's vibe coding. You just like kind of tell.
I actually gave a talk on this.
Conversation.
At a meetup last week.
Ah, yeah, that's true. How did it go? Did you call it vibe coding?
No. Well, the funny thing is that I called it prompting is all you need.
Ah, yeah.
Which I still think is a good title. But when between me submitting the talk and actually giving the talk, the term vibe coding was coined by Andre Karpathy. One of the founding team of OpenAI.
Oh, okay.
And it basically means also what I was going to present is like you have a chat interface, whatever that chat interface is, right? Like take cursor, take whatever, and you just say allow everything, because you typically can say like I need to, before you do anything, I need to approve, I need to verify, etc. You allow anything, and you just say, okay, build me this app with this and this specs, and you see what comes out. And then something doesn't work, or you want to add a feature, you just prompt it, like, and you just lay back and type and chat with your interface, and it does everything for you.
Say like, I want this page, I want this UI, and he just kind of does it.
Yeah. And the challenging thing, I think, of where we are at today in terms of the performance of these things is then like it really gets you like 80% of the way.
Yeah.
If you're doing something standalone and like a lot of what ifs, but it's already very good.
Yeah, it's true. But I hear now vibe coding everywhere. That's what. See, you could almost be vibe coding, Alex.
You can be vibe coding.
That's true. You could just like do this, do that. She's gonna look. It's gonna be a developer next time. Hoodie on.
No, but seriously, like if you just want to check it out, like go to Lovable, go to Bolt, and just try it. Like it's super easy with a prompt to create an app.
This makes me think of this. Is something I saw on Reddit. I don't know when, but I saw recently. Let's see. When is this from? 19 hours ago, the comment. This is 19 hours ago, so very recent. So this is from the Cursor. So Cursor is like the VS Code fork. It says, guys, I'm under attack. Ever since I started to share how I build my SaaS using Cursor, random things are happening. Maxed usage on API keys, people bypassing subscription, creating random shit on the DB. As you know, I'm not technical, so this is taking me longer than usual to figure this out. For now, I will stop sharing publicly on X. There are just some weird people out there. So and that's the thing. So so I think what I understood is this guy was vibe coding, but he doesn't understand what's happening. So maybe there were like API keys that were hard coded. There were like a lot of stuff there, and now people are attacking. And then he's like, "What should I do? Because I don't know how to fix this." So I think it's like vibe coding, and I think you're a good example. Huh? You can vibe code, but I think you can also read and say, "This is good. This is not good. Change this. Change that." So I still feel like I think that's a good example of the mix that you need to have between how much technical do you need to be and how much can you just vibe with it?
Yeah. I think that is the challenge. Like I think when you're on a few discords where well, the new term is indeed vibe coding, is where you see a lot of these questions that are being up that they're using a Gen AI based coding tool, and you see questions coming up which have nothing to do with, and which basically means like they just really don't understand what's being created.
Yeah, I saw that
Right.
too. Yeah,
This
Like
that
a lot
is the
of-
reality where we're in, and that's a bit like that's the challenge. That's a bit what I was mentioning. The 80%. It's very easy to get you to 80%,
yeah,
but like the rest, like you need a bit of an understanding of the code.
yeah,
I think new supporting tools will ease that transition. Also, the example that you shared here, like someone that has security issues,
yeah,
like a very open system, like for example, Bolt and Lovable, they integrate with Supabase.
Hmm.
Supabase already does some like proactive notifications that were saying, okay, these tables are probably too open to the public. You need better
Yeah.
lower level security. So you get these proactive monitoring on like safeguarding. Like you're probably a shit developer.
You
But
should
here we
be
help
vibe
you.
coding.
Here we help you. Make sure to check out this, right? But,
Yeah.
And I think we will see an evolution in these supporting tools as well.
Yeah. No, for sure. But I think there are also some automatic tools that can look if you have API keys and all these things, right?
Exactly.
That already help.
But that already assumes that you understand why
But
there's
that's the
an
thing.
issue.
That's the thing. And
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. Maybe Bolt and something like this that kind of takes care of all that underneath. Maybe they already do some of these things and they stop it.
Hmm.
But if you're just on cursor, right, you just kind of go with it. But yeah. Maybe also this makes me think of this article as well. Different topic, but I saw this on. This is not super recent, but AI cracks superbug problem that in 2 days that took scientists years. This is from February 20th. Basically, there were scientists that spent. Oh, sorry. Thanks.
He's trying to share it on the screen.
Yeah, I was trying, but technology, it's difficult sometimes. So from 20th Feb, basically, there were scientists that spent decades trying to understand why superbugs are created.
Mhm.
And they did a lot of research, did a lot of things, and they did like a Google model. They said they gave the same prompt, and then after a while, they came up with the same conclusion, basically. So I don't know exactly the parameters. They don't go a lot of detail. It's a short article here.
Yeah.
But the paper wasn't published, so there was no way that Google could actually gotten on the training data. So they
Okay,
were really
interesting.
really perplexed by this. They even reached out to Google saying like, do you have access to my data somehow? This and this, and it's like, no, we don't. And also it came up with like other theories as to why superbugs can happen, and it's like, oh, now we're investigating these things. So in the end, they talk about like the place of AI in research. Yeah, so this would change science and whatnot. But I still think it's interesting because like you can get to a conclusion, but you still need to have the years of experience to know what is a valid hypothesis, what's just hallucination, is this something worth exploring, does it make sense with empirical data? And I don't know exactly also what are the parameters of the AI tool, right? Because you probably couldn't do experiments in the lab, right? But again, it's like another example in a different field now where AI, like it's not replacing really. Like at a glance, you feel like, yeah, it's replacing people. But if you really look a bit closer, it's not really. It's really not.
I also read the article. I saw it passing by in my feed. This is very interesting. Like, it's. I was wondering, like, also the process that they used. I'm not sure if they published something on that. Like what was the how did they configure this AI that cracked the superbug? Like,
Yeah.
what models were used? But it's interesting to see that. And to me, this is also a very good example of more like using AI as an acceleration tool, right?
Indeed. But I think that's what I'm kind of boiling down. Is like, I think the fear is that AI is going to replace people, but I think more realistically is that it's going to be a super efficient productivity tool.
Yeah, it will create a bit of super agency for people. The people that can use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's always a bit of dream, but I think you kind of, in the end of the day, if you really take a few steps back, it's like it's a tool that will make you more efficient. But I thought it was really interesting as well. Also something a bit outside the programming, because I think we hear a lot of this on the programming side.
True.
What else do we have? So, European Tech Industry Coalition calls for radical action on digital sovereignty. What is this about?
Yes, this was an article published on TechCrunch 2 days ago. It's basically a coalition of a lot of European players, more or less in the tech space. Like a few big ones are mentioned there: Airbus, Element, OVH Cloud, Marina, Nextcloud, Proton, like names that a lot of people know. And it's a bit of a letter to the European Union. Or to the European Commission, more precise, to the President Ursula von der Leyen, and the digital chief, where they call for like strong action on digital sovereignty. Like I think this is very much a reaction to the whole geopolitical climate currently, where I think Europe wants to wean itself a bit off of Silicon Valley. Through different measures, and a very important one being start buying locally.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting to see. I think it's maybe also good to have a wake-up call.
Yeah,
there, right? And that's maybe like a very concrete example, and it's also a good segue. It's like instead of your local government using AWS Cloud, maybe you need to go to something like OVH or Scaleway or another European provider, right?
indeed.
Even though, and that's the question mark, like, are they up to par today or not?
Yeah, I think first thought I have also is like we're discussing tech, but I think tech with the geopolitics is very intertwined these days, right?
Yeah,
but
it's true. A lot happened in the last months.
Indeed. And I will segue. I'll take your segue here for the Hopsworks. So they're MLOps platform, right? And they actually shared the story here, migrating from AWS to European cloud, how it could cost by 62%. Indeed, to OVH.
Just so Hopsworks MLOps platform is a European
yes
company.
I'm pretty well. I know that the founder, Jim Darwin, I met him in a conference, and he works in Sweden. He's a professor there.
Okay, interesting.
So, but yeah, so I think from what I understood here, I just glanced at this. They're using more. I think they were using very much the specialized AWS services. So I think that's why it worked for them. But I do wonder how mature the cloud space, the European cloud space is. But I do think that it will become more mature as well, right?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of attention. I already read articles that people are mobilizing to put more money behind it. Which I think will be. I think it's good. Whether
it's a big statement that could cost by 62%.
Yeah, but I think the thing for me, you also hear from time to time people saying that they're going to cut costs by moving back to on-prem, right? So I think it's.
But to me, I think the good thing today is that we indeed, like, we're both in Europe. I think it's good that the European economy is a bit stimulated by buying these services locally. I think also by having that movement, we will see improvements. I've used OVH in the past, I've used Scaleways in the past. Like, I don't think you can argue that they're not good. I think it's a bit the other extreme. Like, if you look at especially AWS and Azure and GCP to some extent, like, from the moment that you're in the ecosystem, they have a solution for literally anything, and you don't need to look around. Like OVH has like probably stuff for 90%.
Yeah.
And for the rest, you need to go a bit more low level. And while in AWS, you maybe have some syntactic sugar, or you have some very niche thing that you need. Like, it's a bit more of a. So you need to think a little bit more, I think, when you limit yourself on an offering that is less extensive, but I think probably quality-wise as good. I think what they're saying now, how we cut costs by 62%. To me, that's a little bit like. You do a huge refactor.
Yeah.
And one of the objectives is to cut costs, and you're probably going to cut costs, right? Like, we all know, like, you start an architecture, you start an ecosystem, and you're going to cut some corners because it gets you up and running quickly, but it's probably not as cost efficient as it can be.
Yeah.
And from the moment it's mature and you do a big refactor, like, it should be more efficient, right? Like,
Yeah, indeed.
Like, if it's, and don't, probably, like, there are some underlying resource costs that are different, but if you look at the big three, I don't know OVH's one, like, compute cost is more or less comparable. Maybe just like, but it's also a bit of a recent Oracle's very much undercutting the market, but I think it's just to win market share. but there's not like there's so much difference in resource cost. But from the moment that you start using these like more syntactic sugar type of services on top of the like the bare compute resource, then it starts to add up, right?
True, but I also but for example, I know for AWS, a lot of the services they say that you only pay for the infrastructure underneath. So in theory, the syntactic sugar doesn't add costs. I mean, I'm not sure that maybe there are services and services, right? But I mean, I think it's good that they mention European cloud. I think it's good that they're also promoting how
I think it's also good.
There is a future there. I also am a bit skeptical by 62% because again, 62 it is a very big number, right? And I agree. If they're migrating, they probably say, okay, now let's use Kubernetes. Let's really make everything really scalable, not have everything idle. You're gonna cut costs. So if they say like how we migrated from AWS to GCP and we cut costs by 50%, I think that could also just as well be. But yeah, but do you see then? You don't see any. If we say tomorrow we're gonna work with OVH, you don't see any like, okay, let's do it. You don't. Do you change the way you tackle the problem at all? I don't have a lot of experience with OVH, but like from I hear what you're saying, it's like it's mature enough that it should be considered as an option. Or
I think for if we ignore all preferences, right? Like I think OVH for a lot of companies, especially SMEs, like it's by far enough. But if you're like a very big, large corporate environment that has a very like niche requirements on separation, on networking, on security, like you might want to, it might take you more of an effort to set this up because it's not out of the box there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So
but I also
a bit like this.
Yeah, and I also think it will be more out of the box in the near future with the investments that people are doing.
Well, if we actually get to a European Commission that has the power to also say to our local governments, let's buy this locally, like by default, we will see a big stimulation. Whether or not that's going to be OVH or Scaleway or something that doesn't exist yet, question mark, right?
Yeah. And talking about government-owned, I don't know if "owned" is the right word, government things that are created. Big segue. What is Docs, Bart?
Yeah, that's a big segue. Yeah. Docs is actually a Notion alternative, and it comes from the French government. It looks quite cool. It's like it's very similar to Notion. Like it's this team-based collaboration. It's
open source.
It's fully open source. You can download it on GitHub. You can host it yourself. From the README, it's clear that they're now using it in France and in Germany, and they are currently onboarding the Netherlands. Like how big that is, I don't know. Like, is it a small department there, or is it like the full government? I don't have no clue. But it's cool to see these. It's cool to see these very open initiatives, let's say lower down in the tech stack, like really end user tooling.
Yeah,
I can't really mention another example where you see this, like this is really something for an end user to use.
Yeah, and it looks very nice. Huh?
It looks very nice. Yeah,
it looks very like polished and
yeah. So that's, I mean, cool initiatives, right?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I'm probably projecting it, but I'm also thinking indeed like all this whole geopolitical thing, trying to have more stuff in house, more open source, more like. But I think it's nice to see. I don't think it's bad to have more options, especially open source ones, right? Because hopefully we can see more extensions and all these things. So, but really, really cool. Have you tried this at all or no?
No, I haven't tried it. But there is, you can actually log in on a demo site, so it's easy for people to try if they go to the GitHub repo.
Okay. Very cool. Gotta give it a try. And because I know you have some pains with Notion, huh? You had some.
I hate formatting in Notion.
But also, like, you have pains with note-taking apps in general, no?
That as well. So maybe first my frustration with Notion.
Okay.
So we use Notion to prepare our items to discuss during DataTopics, and this is in an itemized list. And from the moment I copy something like a title from a website to there, you lose the itemization, and that's like in a header. And like there is no easy way to change back. Like I just want to paste without the original formatting. Like how difficult can it be? Like Notion has been around for so long.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
One thing I also did, I was trying to copy paste Markdown.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't understand the Markdown. And I was getting super frustrated. It's like it was just Markdown.
Yeah.
Copy pasted. And I really wanted to just like go like nicely format, and it didn't.
So yeah, I hate Notion. I will never use it as my note-taking app.
Never.
Never.
Wow, that's a big statement, huh?
No, I've done it like it's in the past.
It's in the past.
Closed chapter. I think I've given it like as my personal noting app. Like gave it a chance for like 3 months, years in the past. But fuck that.
And also, I also heard it's still in the note-taking app space. You don't like Obsidian either.
Oh wow, this is a bit more.
Putting you on the hot seat.
It's really on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Because Obsidian is like the love child of everybody in the tech sector, right?
Yes. But maybe do you know what Obsidian is, Alex?
No.
So Obsidian is like a Markdown based note taking app, right? But like you have just your files, and the idea is like you just have your files, right? So Obsidian is just kind of reads the files and can create mind maps, and I think mind maps is what everyone shows me.
Yeah, a bit like Apple Notes, but then a bit for more, a little bit people that are a bit more in the tech space, right? Like
Yeah.
Want to do Markdown, I want to do these.
Bit hipster. Yeah. They wear hoodies all the time.
Yeah, and now you want to know why I hate it.
Yeah.
But hate is a strong word.
Okay, you
Because I used it quite a while.
have you?
Yeah, I used it quite a while.
Okay.
So I think the UI is ugly. Maybe start with that. I mean, the eye also wants something, right?
Okay. You want some eye candy?
Yeah, I want some eye candy. Like I want to look
Okay.
sleek.
Okay.
I think it's ugly. Like their teams, but it's still ugly. I think there is this whole notion of interconnected nodes and like this interconnected knowledge domain,
Mm-hmm.
which, and that's really a me problem. Like it just doesn't work for me. Like I'm not gonna craft my nodes in such a clean way that I'm gonna add tags and I know, okay, this tag, and I will link it to that node. That's not me, right? Like I can do that for 4 nodes, and then the 5th node is just some scribbles.
It's just like this, that.
Yeah, like
Check previous notes.
Yeah. And then what I kinda dislike is like their whole notion, like we're the free note-taking app.
Yeah. That is
And sure, they're free, they're open source. But like I use my note-taking app on multiple devices. I also want to have access on my notes on my phone. And while there are workarounds, I know this via Git, blah, blah, you can do this for free, but it's a lot of effort. So basically, the only way to make it like usable, if you don't want to spend too much time on it, is to go to the paid plan.
I see. So
it's like the whole premise is like we're the free note-taking app. We don't take ownership of your notes. But yeah, if you really want to fully use it, like you have to pay for it. And I understand that, right? Like they need to make money to run a business, but then don't like run with the whole word for free note-taking app, right? That's a bit rubs me a bit the wrong way.
I see.
What I did, I think they were very much, well, there were definitely a lot of examples before already, but I think what they very much did is to popularize Markdown as the default for note-taking.
Yeah.
And that I very much like.
Yeah. No, but I agree.
And so actually, I recently switched to Bear.
The
Bear
so
app.
maybe I'll just wasn't planned, but given the discussion, this is Obsidian for people that don't know.
Yeah, Bear is
the mind maps here.
Well, basically Apple ecosystem only. What I like about Bear is that you can import and export Markdown nodes, supports Markdown. Well, you can actually, and that's actually an interesting, interesting rabbit hole. You can import and export text bundles, which is this wrapper around Markdown that also includes like images and attachments that you add to Markdown file.
Okay.
This is a very, very handy thing in this ecosystem. It didn't exist a few years ago.
Okay.
And it syncs this on all my devices via iCloud. So I quote unquote own everything. There is no third party, like I'm already on iCloud. So there's no third party where my notes are hosted.
I see.
And the interface is very sleek.
Wow.
and it just works. Like it's very
Yeah, for me, so I use Raycast, like that's the Spotlight replacement. They actually have like sticky notes, so it's just like a scratch pad, I guess.
Yeah.
And from there, it's very easy to export it to Notes or like other places. So I haven't downloaded Bear necessarily. So I just started like I take notes on the sticky notes thing, the scratch pad, and just export it to Notes. And then if I need to find it, I'll just search
Yeah.
or whatever. The only thing I really don't like, and that's my only like, and that's why I spent some time looking at other alternatives. Notes doesn't do Markdown.
no, that's true.
It's horrible.
Notes. I had 3 minimum requirements.
Yeah.
Like very good support for Markdown / text bundles.
Yes.
It had to be affordable, and it said like below 4 or 5 euros a month.
Okay.
And I don't want to have my data going elsewhere.
Fair.
And from the moment you do that, like Notes is out of the table because Markdown is not a thing.
Yeah.
Very hard. There are some workarounds with automations and stuff like that. It was super hard.
But to me, it's just like, what is Apple doing? Like, just add Markdown support. You know?
But I think that's very like a niche audience.
You think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we are in the bubble.
We're in the bubble, I think.
To me, I was
When it
really
comes to
like,
these things.
it's like we should start a petition. Because if they had Markdown, I'll be really happy with it.
But that I agree.
I would just be like, it's on my phone, automatically sync, it's iCloud.
because
here and
otherwise
there.
it touches more or less everything. That
Exactly,
I need.
right.
Yeah.
Maybe one thing that,
I'm gonna do some advertisement.
advertisement.
Yeah.
Go for it.
If you use Bear and you need an MCP server, because we're gonna go there, right?
Yes, that's what I was
If
going
you
to say.
if you have Bear and you have an MCP server, do you know this? What I'm gonna say.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because you said I know you. If you have Bear and you need an MCP server for it, basically meaning like you can via Claude or something like you can query your nodes, you can go to barts.space and there's a link to a small repo I made.
Hold on.
There's a small Bear MCP server.
Is it Bart's?
Barts.
Bart's.space. Let me share it again.
And it's under etc, my Bear MCP server.
My Bear MCP server.
Yeah.
Cool. So maybe already moving into what is a MCP? Well, what is this? What is an MCP server? What are you doing here?
You mean in general, what is an MCP server, right?
Yeah. If you had to explain to our audience, right? Like, what did you do here? Like, MCP is I think it got very popular in the past week.
Yeah. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a way that standardizes or brings some standards on what is an MCP client, what is an MCP server, and what is the communication in between those.
Mm-hmm.
And a MCP client is basically typically, and I'm going to generalize here a bit because there are a lot of edge cases, but like you can typically see a bit like as your chat interface. Like think, for example, you go to Claude, like for example, if you download the Claude desktop application, it literally is an MCP client.
Yeah.
If you use a coding IDE like Cursor or Klein or Continuum, that's also an MCP client.
Yes.
And what an MCP client does, aside from the simple chatting that it already does, right? The simple directly to an LM, it allows it from the moment it starts up, it sees like which MCP servers are registered, and it connects to these servers and basically explores like what tools do these servers have available.
Yeah.
And here, like in the example, it's actually good to have a concrete example. So here I created a Bear MCP server.
Yes.
Something very local. So when my Claude desktop application boots up, I registered this MCP server in a config file, and it will connect to it, and it will ask this MCP server, what tools do you have available? And this will give back, using me as an MCP server, you can retrieve a node, or you can search for nodes, or you can search for tags, or you can do I have a bunch of tools available to do.
This one. So open nodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Search nodes, get tags, open tag. Yeah.
So this is the most typical example. MCP servers can also host prompts. So they can have prompts ready for you, so they can return prompts.
Yeah.
And what then happens is like also the protocol to communicate between these things is standardized. So it's RPC JSON, basically remote procedure call in a JSON format. And then from the moment, so this client, let's say Claude Desktop initialized, it knows I have these tools available, and then for every query it gets, like it tries to determine like, is this a query I'm getting that I should send to a tool and get the response of the tool back, or is it just a regular chat?
Yeah.
And then based on that, like it will either return a regular chat or go to the tool and then return the response of the tool.
And I think a lot of the times it asks for permission to acquire the tool, or no?
Depends a bit on the client,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Claude Desktop does it indeed like very, to me, a bit too extensively. But
You can
yeah,
just say
you
like,
need to
yes, go
allow
ahead.
it, allow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very cool. So I mean, the example you have here is a good one. So if you go to Claude Desktop and you say, can you find all my notes about project management? It will understand that it's something about your notes, and you says, well, I don't have this. This is not something on my base, my knowledge base. So I should probably go for your notes that is on Bear, and you will see, what are the tools we have available? We have a search notes.
Yeah.
So then it says, hey, can I search notes using this tool? And you say yes, and then you would actually get the context there and then give you an answer.
Exactly.
Very cool.
And it knows this, that to make the switch to selection for this tool, because like from the moment that client starts up, it does this initial connection to the server, it gets back this metadata from the server, like these are the tools available, and this is what you can use them from.
Yeah.
So it's really based on the matching the description with the query of the user.
It's very cool. And also like, for the servers part, like you can also run it locally, right? You can have a local server running next to your client application. So
this one is a good example. This is very local.
This is very local. Yeah. That's because that's what I was looking at here. The configuration, like for the people following the screen, is like a JSON thing. So this one looks very local indeed. You run npx, so you run this locally, but you could also have something hosted somewhere else.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also I also looked to NPC servers. I haven't built one, so I think it's really cool that you did. I did look at the code, but in Python. They use like the fast MCP or whatever. The way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is like we have LLMs, so we have just models, and then they started creating these tools, right, that you can actually add on the OpenAI. Like these are the available tools, but this you have to do when you're coding it up. But for example, Anthropic or other things, they already have the model, and you cannot go there and change the code for the available tools. So then you can have this model context protocol where you can actually, somewhat like a plugin system, right?
Yeah,
you can say, okay, you didn't code this up, but everything that you see here, these are the tools that you're going to be available to go. And these are separate servers, like locally or somewhere else.
True.
So it's a way that basically can add whatever tool you want for the clients. Maybe also to show here, they have this is an Anthropic that created this, but it is they created this very much in a let's create an open standard kind of right. So there's another page here. This is from the model context protocol.io, and then they're just showing some clients. So you mentioned, indeed, they have like resources, prompts, and tools, sampling roots, but actually sampling roots, there's nothing there. And some clients, they offer some things, but what every client offers, or almost every client offers, is the tool calling things. Very, very cool. And maybe maybe do you want to share more about how was the experience of building this MCP server? Was it straightforward?
This is very easy. Yeah. Actually, this is 95% built using GenAI.
Vibe coding.
More or less, exactly. But it does become, because I did it via client, it does become sometimes a bit confusing because you're giving instruction on building an MCP, and at the same time, my client had access to that MCP.
So it's like
to actually test it.
Okay.
Right? So it was sometimes a bit confusing, but it works. Yeah.
But that's really cool. That's really cool. So for people interested,
thought there was a bit of space here because like Bear is very much a native OS X application, in the sense that they there's minimal integrations possible, but they do have X callback URL. So most Apple applications allow to interact with other Apple applications via the protocol. But to call back to something like Claude, like it had to open up basically a callback URL which opens a browser. So it's very like the MCP servers that existed, they're very, like, to me it was a very grating user experience. Like you query something and then you see 5 browser queries popping up to feedback that information. So here I'm actually connecting directly to the SQLite database of Bear.
But they're very cool.
And that's also the reason why it's limited to read only. actually.
That's very cool.
Huh.
But I mean, that's
Oh, thanks for the star.
yeah.
It's
So
star.
there's 2 stars. Yeah. Actually, I'm the second one. Huh?
It's probably mine, right?
Let's see. Yeah, I did. But yeah, but really cool, huh? Really cool. For I think, yeah, very helpful as well. And I do think maybe also on the what's the name? Is Smithery? Yeah, Smithery.ai.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is that because this is a standard, right? People can actually create their servers. They can create these things, and you can just kind of plug it into your model, right? So this is a Smithery is a hub, I guess, of these MCP servers. So really, really cool. So yeah, there's stuff for like Neon. Yeah, they have
There's
different
stuff for almost
categories.
anything.
Yeah, like
I think Smithery.ai, like if you want to get started with MCP service, is a very good starting point because like there is a lot of quote unquote synthetic sugar to get your clients configured.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use it myself because of this synthetic sugar. I want to learn a little bit more because there's typically quite some sensitive data involved. Like I want to see a little bit like what am I connecting? Is it local? Is it remote? Or and all the information you can find on Smithery, but it takes a bit away of it abstracts a bit too much for me. Like not being too transparent on what it is. But it's a very good way to get started with MCP.
But I think
servers.
Indeed, so it's like a lot of these things run on servers, like actual servers. You can run it locally, right? And in locally, you can guarantee the privacy of your data, right? And we talked about Anthropic Desktop, Claude Desktop, but like I used it for Cursor, for example. So like
maybe just for something very concrete. So I use this in Klein as well. Well, not Smithery, but like directly MCP servers. To that, I found very useful is I use Puppeteer. Puppeteer is just a web browser, right? But I can, like, from the moment that I use a very new library, I just say make sure to use the most recent doc on this URL to have to really like view on the most recent documentation. So that's really helpful. I've also used so for the thing I'm now recently making is something as a Postgres backend. So I have a Postgres read-only MCP server that connects to my database. And I have Klein also writing migrations for me, so database schema changes. And always when I now propose like I need this and this change, then I say make sure to first inspect the scheme that is already out there to make it as precise as possible. So it already reads like the structure of my Postgres database. It makes it much more robust, much more precise.
Indeed. No, but indeed, I think, like it won't guess what schemas you have, how many tables you have. It actually can read and say this actually needs to go there. So it's it's really cool. And it feels very seamless in a way. Like at least in Cursor is really just like actually in Cursor you can set a YOLO feature, which it just goes through.
I think there is like and in Klein is the same. I think in Claude it feels a bit more because you need to very explicitly say.
But maybe it's also more user, like it's not for developers necessarily, right? So maybe that's also
experience.
But it's very cool. One thing that I maybe also linking to the thing I had. If so, OpenAI doesn't have this. They don't support this, right? Like on the chat or whatever. If you wanted to integrate this with OpenAI models, you're developing something yourself, right? You want to use ChatGPT 4.0 and you want to have this. There's I found a blog here as well from the Azure AI services. They actually use a Chainlit, which is Chainlit. It's like a very much kind of like Streamlit, but just chat.
I think I saw a demo in the past.
Yeah, indeed. So they have like a lot of decorators here, and you can actually use these things. But in the end, and I think this is also interesting because they kind of show how you would build an MCP client from scratch. So here they say like on the connection from the MPC server, you're gonna have the tools, and you need to add this programmatically to your OpenAI client, right? Because you have the tools parameter that expects a certain JSON, and then you need to kind of add these things there in the way that you expect it. So that needs to be flattened and all these things. So and also another interesting read for people that are curious about this. What else? While we are on the LLM,
maybe OpenRouter.
OpenRouter. Let's do it. Let's see.
So OpenRouter.ai is for all my, let's say, personal coding stuff, I've defaulted to OpenRouter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So OpenRouter is a a router that gives you basically a single endpoint, and in that endpoint you can say, I want to talk to this version of an LLM. So it becomes super easy to switch Claude 3.7 for 3.5 or GPT 4.0 or Llama whatever,
Okay.
and it's just a router to models hosted wherever. And even on specific instances of models, like or specific versions of model, like let's say you take Claude 3.7, they claim that they have a better uptime than the original provider, because they will when they route to Sonnet 3.7,
Mm-hmm.
they will route to Anthropic, but they will also route to Anthropic on Bedrock, and they will also route to Anthropic on whatever. And so, and I'm not sure what they base it on. I think it's on certain time on SLAs and uptime, so, but maybe also a bit of round robin.
Yeah.
But that also means like if Anthropic goes down, which is actually fairly recently these days, and not that it goes down, but like a few minutes, a few minutes, you can't. That it will use in one of the other providers.
Okay.
So you have a much more seamless experience, and also it bypasses, because they are a very large user of these things. It bypasses existing tiers. So Anthropic, for example, has like tier 1, 2, 3, 4 on, and it defines like how often can you run new queries and stuff like that. But they bypass because there is huge user of Anthropic.
I see. But then, like, how do you practice with the? Because you said use this for coding. That's your default.
I use this for coding. So, for example, in Klein or in Cursor or wherever, you can have your normally you have your OpenAI or your Anthropic token.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of that, you use your OpenRouter token.
Okay.
And OpenRouter is, I think, more or less all of these clients well supported. And you just go via OpenRouter.
Okay, I see.
And it's like also like it doesn't force you to say, okay, now I want to, I've used this now for a while, I want to try that out. Okay, but then you need to put credits so it's in yet another account and a credit in yet another account.
That's interesting. And
yeah.
so you have to put credits there, so it's like a proactive thing.
You put credits there. Yeah. Okay. And I'm actually like also now using it for a small application where there is actually tool usage. And where that then also then allows me in a very unified way, like not having another provider, but to say like for this specific step in my LM logic, like use this less performant but also very cheap, because it's good enough. For this step, let's use that. And you can always do that, but normally it's a bit more convoluted because maybe you're on other providers and there's a different endpoint, different authentication, whatever. But so OpenRouter like eases a lot in this.
Do you know the pricing for these things? Oh no, you actually put credits. There's no pricing. You just kind of add credits and then
you add credits, and it's more or less the same pricing as you would pay at original providers. Like it's a fraction more. Like it's not noticeably more.
So you just use this. I mean, you have the. So I'm just thinking of your AI setup in your AI subscriptions, because this would meet all the developer needs. Let's say
this would meet all the developer needs. Like, and I'm ignoring a lot on enterprise usage. What about data privacy? Who is this organization? I'm ignoring all this. Like, I'm now talking for personal projects.
Yeah, I see. And it's prepaid kind of thing. So it's like if you run out of credits, you stop.
It's prepaid, but you can do auto top-ups.
Okay. Okay. Cool. In Cursor, actually, it's they have a subscription, and then you can also change models, but like you change it manually. So it's not like I don't know how OpenRouter is, but you have like a drop down of models, and you can say now I want to use this, now I want to use that. No, it's just the same.
But what like with Cursor, you have a subscription.
Yeah.
What does that mean towards what models you can use?
Like people basically request models to become available. Actually, so they call it premium models.
Yeah.
So I think Claude 4.0 maybe. I'm not sure. There are a few models that are more expensive that you have. I think 5,000 premium requests per month. But I never passed this. And you always, even if you pass this, it's not like you don't get. It's just that you enter a queue. So it's like they give priority for the people that have more tokens still. And you can always
requests. I'm not sure how that translates to my workflow.
Well, for me, so far, I haven't used it all. But they also have like the autocompletes, and they always have like 4.0 mini or 0.3 mini, which is actually it's as much as you want.
Okay.
So that's
to me I would have to look into how many tokens that adds up to. Because the nice thing of OpenRouter is also
I'd say 5,000 tokens, or did they say 5,000?
No, requests? I would like to check how much tokens that would add up to, because they are probably also expressed in tokens, I would assume.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about OpenRouter is that I now actually have statistics on which tool used how many tokens, so I can actually be a bit more conscious about. I blew this weekend €100 on tokens.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. How come?
Wait, or
I like how your in show notes is Claude 3.7 and blowing 100 euros in 2 days.
do you have? We lost the camera for a second there. Yeah, it's back. So yeah, I was saying I blew 100 euros in tokens,
What are you doing?
but it's so I was Gen AI assisted coding,
Vibe coding.
vibe coding. To be I was very much vibe coding. I still think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I was the weird thing is, so why did I blow that much? It was by far the most is because the pricing of Claude 3.7 is super expensive,
Yeah.
and I don't even use the extended thinking very much. It's more or less the reasoning model, which is even way more expensive. To me, the reasoning model I sometimes use is in Klein. You call it plan mode, and either you call it architect mode, like make a plan. And
Yeah, I see.
I always use 3.7 without the thinking to execute.
Yeah. And then maybe planning is just the thing you need to
Yeah.
do anything. Yeah.
But I'm working on a fairly large code base.
Yeah.
And while I now at OpenRouter sometimes try, okay, let's try Gemini. Like it's good, like it seems good enough, or let's try DeepSeek, or let's try whatever.
Yeah.
From the moment it's complex enough, you always go back to Sonnet.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one. Like this is also what you see. Like even though it is really priced way higher than other, from at least in the coding domain and programming domain, like it clearly outperforms everyone else.
Yeah. That's the yeah, indeed. That's how.
And you see when you look at the leaderboards, there are some exemptions. Like, but then the exemption is okay. It's even better if you use DeepSeek R1 for the planning, but for execution, please use 3.7. Like you get these combinations, but in the end, you're still using Sonnet. And it's crazy that they're that big. Like it's been a while now that they're so much better, right?
Yeah, I
And
feel
with
like
all the kerfuffle on the O1, the O3, the DeepSeek R1.
that's it.
Sonnet
I
is
feel
still
like
beating everyone.
yeah, even the 3.5, because I think 3.7 is more recent, but even the 3.5,
3.5 was the same.
yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Like even it was like, whoa, this is cool, but then people went back to Claude, you know, like to just get stuff done.
And 3.7 gets a lot of a bad rap with extended thinking, and I think there's a fair amount to say. Like extended thinking, very much, it leads to over complexifying things. Like you really like
Yeah.
like, what the fuck are you doing? Like that's like normal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But
So,
but cool.
and a bit linked to that, that's maybe the last point on this on the LLM domain is notdiamond.ai.
Yes. What is this?
Notdiamond.ai. So I haven't used it, but I found this because actually it's an option in OpenRouter for model selection. So NotDiamond.ai is a model that that you can basically talk to as you would talk to an LLM provider, but it will receive your query. And what I understand from it, it will try to find the best model for you for this specific query to either, or a combination of those, improve the performance or reduce cost.
That's also what OpenAI was going to do, no? Like
Well, yeah, but then it's within the
GPT-5
OpenAI ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Here is a very open ecosystem and integrated with OpenRouter, which basically gives you access to everything.
I see.
And that's an interesting thing, but it also gives me the feeling like every layer is an LLM doing something.
Yeah. It's like LLMs all the way down. Yeah, but it's true. I mean, I do feel like that sometimes, especially when the people are like, yeah, and then to test this, we're gonna have another LLM looking at the code, and to see if there's any hallucination, we use another LLM, and it's like, I'm not sure if, like, if LLM was the problem, I'm not sure if it's the solution, but I don't know. I feel like today is kind of where people are at. Maybe I want to ask one open question before we go to the closing segment. Let's say, when you interact with ChatGPT, with Claude, how do you? What's the how can I say it without giving it away? How do you ask the questions? You just say like, do this, do that.
Yeah, I would say like that. Do this, do this.
Do you say please?
No.
How about you, Alex?
Yeah, I do say please and thank you.
Oh wow! Oh really? Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe why do you say please and thank you, Alex?
I have no idea. I just feel like sometimes It depends. If I really need something fast, then I'll just do it without saying it. But
You know,
just be polite. I don't know.
my wife, she when she first got Copilot, like she would say please and thank you, but the first few messages was like, "Hi, how are you?" It's like, "I'm good. How are you?" It's like, "Do you have time? Can I ask you a question?" It's like, "Sure." You know, she had all these things. But yeah, but why I'm asking, I just thought it would be fun. Something that flew by. Let's see. I need to share this instead. It was they did a research, I guess. Like, are you polite to ChatGPT? So it says here, are you polite to ChatGPT? Here's how you rank among AI chatbot users. And actually, most people, you're outnumbered, Bart. Most people are nice, but only some due to fear. So I think they kind of talk about like, I think like actually, I looked at the numbers. Let me ever see if there was an infographic or something here.
How fearful are you, Alex?
It's definitely not out of fear. I think it's just habit. I don't know.
Yeah, like when interacting with AI, text, ChatGPT, or smart speakers, are you polite? 50%, 55% said yes. It's just a nice thing to do. 12 said yes. 12% said yes. When the robot uprising happens, I don't want to be the first. And then yeah, the other ones is like, no, why waste my time? So that's 20%. And 13% is no, it's a machine. Why would I be polite?
But yeah, I think there's a difference between being polite and being disrespectful as well. Huh?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think it's like
I'm a bit neutral, I think.
But I feel like for you, it would be like, why wait? Like I think you do more out of efficiency, no? Like yours like a Google search.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Yeah,
like-
I think that's a good way to explain. Yeah, I'm not,
Right?
yeah.
Do this or that. The only argument that I would think, so I think sometimes I sneak in a please or could you?
Yeah,
know?
there are some
Yeah.
resources that say that improves the performance, right?
Indeed. So that's the thing, because they said like it's all training data, and apparently, in conversations, people are more helpful if you're polite to them. So then the model also learns this behavior.
Hmm.
So like if you're
Okay.
very rude, the model, because it's seen in the training data that people reacted not as helpful, then the model maybe is not as helpful. But let me see if I can find this. So I think that's the only reason why it makes sense. But yeah, like well, some also in the article they also say it's also not refreshing to see because, and I think it's a bit of a stretch, but they say if people normalize being impolite or not being polite to these things, then maybe this kind of falls through the social social relationships. So to see that people are still trying to be nice or still they feel like they should be polite because it's the right thing to do regardless if it's AI or not, they also kind of took a nice thing from that. But then on the other hand as well, there's like, yeah, but would you be polite to Google search?
Yeah.
So it's a bit, I don't know.
On the opposite end, would you get mad at the AI?
I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
I've done it a few times.
But why? It's like,
I have to.
oh really?
But like a major edit to the code base, and then you say like nothing was solved. And I can say, fuck this, just solve it already. But like then I say, fuck this, solve it already. But it never really is, like never adds value. It's better to like look at what went wrong and like give a precise hint, like fix this specific thing because that's what's going on.
But it wasn't because it wasn't helpful. He was just asking for something they didn't do.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not being helpful means.
What was you, Alex? Was ChatGPT a bit rude to you?
Yeah, I just wasn't getting what I was trying to explain, and then I just put it all caps.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
didn't do
really?
anything.
Wow. I saw.
All caps. That's when the,
Yeah.
the young generation
Yeah.
is. Now it's on.
That was a video I saw. There was like a girl saying like, "Hey, draw this icon for me," and then but like the way she talks to ChatGPT is like, "Girl, be critical of what you did." And then like ChatGPT starts to mimic her. It's like, "Girl, my bad. I swear to God, I'm gonna do better." And then like it generates another image that is just as bad. She's like going scrolling through. It's like, "Girl, come on, be real. Look at what you did. Do you think this is what I want?" And it's like, "Girl, my bad. I swear to God, I'm gonna let you down again." And like they start going on this, So it's a bit of a rant. But one thing I also thought, and I wasn't gonna show this, but since you talked about getting mad at AI, Cursor, someone had an interesting exchange with Cursor. I think this is Cursor AI tells user, "I cannot generate code for you, as that will be completing your work."
Oh, I saw this point. Yeah.
I saw this on Reddit as well. So basically, like they like on the forum, they actually have the forum. Sorry, they actually have a 800 lines of code limit, so they also talk about this. But then he also mentioned like, and the model kind of refused to generate code for me because he said it would be completing my work and it would take an opportunity to learn and all these things. So I also thought it was funny. It's like I never got to that level. I think that would tick me off a bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, is this real or is this a bit staged, right?
Maybe. But I also think that in Cursor, you have like a dot cursor rules.
Mm.
So you can kind of say, like, you can prompt the LM to say, do this, this, and this. So maybe if he says, I'm a student,
Yeah,
help me
that's true.
learn.
That's true.
Maybe
that's a good point. Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
they
yeah,
has. There was one that
that's a good point.
there was one Cursor rules that the guy put, and it was like, I think when ChatGPT something came out, and then they asked how many R's there are in strawberry, and the answer is like, there are 3. You stupid bitch. But I think they prompted to say finish every sentence with "you stupid bitch."
That's a good one. I'll add that to my client rules.
Indeed. But also maybe one thing, I also, as I was talking to you, you mentioned Klein. There's also continue.dev. You also mentioned Open Router, and I also feel
Aider,
like
can't forget
Aider, and I also feel like, because I'm using Cursor now and I'm still happy with it, but I'm also wondering if you could recreate the same experience pretty much with the different components, right? Like you can pick client, you can pick the Open Router, and you can kind of have the same experience actually in the end. Because I think with Cursor, what I liked, one was the tab completion, that it wasn't just an autocomplete. You could actually edit stuff in the middle of the sentence. And the other thing too that I like is that I had options to a lot of models. But I feel like from what you're saying, it's like you can do the same things with Client Open Writer.
True.
I also wonder what
I think that it's a bit like how integrated the client, like Client or Cursor or whatever, is like you have sometimes. I think Aider has it to some extent, but you have some ways to automate it as well. Like where you need to be very explicit. Like I want to build this feature, but you need to select these and these files I'm going to include in the query. So
yeah,
you need to think about it much more. Like with Client, is gonna inspect more or less the code base, is gonna attach the right files automatically.
Yeah. But I also wonder,
like I like this now I'm saying it, maybe I like the vibe coding more. It's weird.
It's weird, huh? 2025 vibe coding.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have a lot more topics, but I think we'll leave it at this.
Yes. Because we have
an announcement. Yeah. We don't have a drum roll, do we? No. Okay, we don't have drum roll.
Do we have something relevant? Alex, do your magic.
No. Okay, we imagine Alex is gonna edit in a drum roll.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, this is guys. Yeah.
Wow.
That was a nice one, Alex.
Wow. Thanks, Alex.
You're
wow.
welcome.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have a podcast update. I don't know if you want to do the honors. No, maybe I'll pass the ball. So, DataTopics will still live on, but it will live on under a different format.
Yes.
It will be maybe not weekly, and you'll have a bit more, maybe a variety of angles, something more maybe business oriented. There will be more topics regarding a project, or maybe more topic oriented, let's say, and less news. Why is that, Bart? Maybe why is DataTopics?
DataTopics is a company podcast. It's part of DataRoots as a company. Even though we don't talk about it a lot, right? I don't think we let it influence a lot our banter on data and AI. But so that means that Marilo and myself are colleagues at DataRoots,
and friends.
And friends.
Yeah, that's okay. Whatever. Fine.
And friends.
Colleagues too.
Friends. I'm just explaining how this came about. And I will soon leave DataRoots.
Yeah.
It comes down to.
Yeah.
So I, together with Jonas, founded DataRoots now, I want to say 8 years ago, a good 8 years ago. And we will start a new chapter going forward, which is which brings a lot of changes, but it's the handover has been going on for a while now. and that means that I will no longer be part of Data Topics, the Data Roots podcast, basically.
Yes. Well, definitely. Well, I think goes without saying. We'll definitely miss you. We'll definitely miss Jonas.
Thank you.
We'll still stay in touch because, as I emphasize, we're still friends. I hope.
We're friends.
Yeah. The day after he leaves, like leaves me everywhere. Blocks me.
Blocks.
Yeah, it's like I hate these things.
Will
But,
you see it when I throw you out of WhatsApp groups?
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll definitely be missed. In any case, I think rather than be sad that it's over, I think it's better to be happy that everything happened. I
Oh.
think so. I think we'll still have a big party coming up. But does that mean that you're not gonna see you anymore? We're not gonna see us in this format part?
Well, maybe we need to first discuss what is the new Data Topics format going to be, right? Like, because it will keep existing. But
Yes.
there are some maybe a bit preliminary ideas, are not final yet, but you have some ideas, right?
Yes. So I think
Enlighten us.
I think it would be the idea currently is bi-weekly,
Mhm.
And then alternate between something surrounding a topic, so something more of a deep dive, let's say,
Mhm.
and then we have guests from Data Roots or maybe even externally, who knows. And on the other, so alternating episodes bi-weekly, and on the other one something a bit more. I don't want to say business because I don't know if that brings the right message, but something more regards to how this is applied in the industry, how it affects people. So something a bit more closer to their audience, let's say. Like, how can these things be applied, right, out there? So we'll see. I think
Cool.
that's the idea.
I'll
You'll be-
subscribe and listen,
Yes, give the comments.
and I'll give stars.
This is shit. Bring Data Topics back. But yeah.
But you and me, being friends,
Yes,
we do have some plans, right?
yes, we do.
We do want to give like this weekly banter on what's new in AI and data, a new place in podcast land,
Yes,
right?
yes, that is true.
We're not exactly sure when it will start.
Nope.
We're not exactly sure what the name will be,
Yes. I mean, no, we're not sure,
but it will happen.
but it will happen. And I
Right.
think personally as well, I think I quite enjoy doing this. I think also discussing what's new is something that I think we would do organically as well.
Well, that's a bit the coming to be story of the podcast anyway, right? Like,
Exactly.
we're discussing these things anyway,
Exactly.
and then we had the idea, let's maybe just
Hit record and
hit record.
let's do it.
Yeah.
But indeed, so more news to follow. Where can people keep posted?
It's a good question, because I would normally say the Data Topics podcast,
Yeah.
but maybe we can do an update there, right? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
from the moment that there's something new. But maybe the easiest follows on LinkedIn. Maybe that's the easiest.
I think it's
I will
probably the
definitely
easiest.
update my personal website when it's there. Barts.space. Yeah, we'll try to
Yeah.
make a bit of noise.
Indeed, for sure. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been
Oh yeah, maybe a call to the public at large. If anyone knows of a good, cool podcast studio in the bigger Leuven area,
Yeah.
hit us up.
hit us up. Indeed. And we'll see. So we bring. So with that,
Thanks, big thank you to all the listeners of the last. How much episodes do we have? We have a lot of episodes, huh?
I think so. Let me check.
I think the last one was 82
Oh, wow,
or 81.
Yeah, last episode 81.
Yeah.
AI code assistance.
wow, that's crazy with the listening numbers. There's a lot of people that
Indeed.
were able to
Indeed. So a lot of episodes, huh?
yeah. Very
Uh,
grateful to our listeners.
Indeed. I think it was
very
also
grateful for the interactions we had, for the guests.
Yes.
And we'll see you all.
Very grateful to you as well. Grateful for Alex as well to coming and putting us in a
And the art piece that Alex made, I think that is
Will
has
not be
been
forgotten.
significant. Will not be forgotten.
will not be forgotten.
Well, will still be part of the Data Topics
Yeah.
podcast, right?
Yes. But we need to order a new one. So
Yeah, we need to commission a new one,
I'm
but we
here.
can't.
Yeah.
We can't spill the name just yet, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But all right, with that.
Oh yeah, and it's not Gen AI.
No, it's not. This is
This is actual artistry.
exactly
Thank
skill. Yes. All right, and with that, then one last time. Thank y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You have taste. In
A
a way
little
that's
more
meaningful
sad
to self
sound bites.
Hello.
A little
I'm
more sad
Bill
sound
Gates.
bites.
I would recommend TypeScript. Yeah, it writes a lot of code for me, and usually it's slightly wrong.
I'm reminded, incidentally, of Rust here.
Rust.
This almost makes me happy that I didn't become a supermodel.
Cooper and Netties.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about large neural networks. It's really an honor to be here.
Rust.
Data
Welcome to the Data.
Welcome to the DataTopics Unpluggedis.